Hi, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. I'm Heather. This is It Starts With the Food. Today I'm talking about self-care and how that can show up in your life or my life. And sometimes it's not as obvious as you would think it would be. I know self-care is one of those buzzwords of the 21st century. We're all, tired of, hearing, are you taking care of yourself? Are you practicing self-care? But the reality is that I know for myself that I don't practice self-care nearly enough. I bitch a lot about it and I complain to others, and ultimately the responsibility falls on myself for making that a priority. This summer was kind of a challenge for me. I was really sick with mono, and I was unable to actually do a lot of things that I normally do, like grocery shopping. I grocery shop. I can do it with the best of them. It's like a sport in my house. I hit 3 stores, boom, 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 in a matter of an hour and 45 minutes, knock out my shopping for a week and come home like a champ normally. But being as sick as I was this summer, I was unable to do that. And normally I can't ask for help. So this summer, I had no choice but to enroll the help of my husband and my kids and actually make sure that we had food. Otherwise, we would have starved to death. Had it not been for that factor, I don't know that I would have been so readily asking for help from them. But what was interesting was that, I had the epiphany that as I was watching my husband and my kids get out there and spend 2.5 hours at the one grocery store with 10 phone calls home to me, trying to figure out, which aisle everything was on and what brand did I buy and so on and so forth. Watching them do that and then come home and seeing how excited they were and how proud of themselves they were for accomplishing this task that I do without even thinking about. And here they were so proud of themselves. And I had to really pay attention to the fact that I had just given them a gift. By being sick and taking myself out of the equation, I allowed them to spread their wings and actually get pretty confident in their shopping skills, which is fabulous, especially for my teens and my 23-year-old daughter. Giving them the ability to go grocery shopping and do it confidently is a huge gift. I know that because there's nothing like walking into a grocery store, a strange grocery store no less, and trying to figure out where everything is. And the only way you get good at it is by doing it over and over again. At least that's been the case for me. So it was really great for me to see that I gave them this gift of growth by being sick. I did have to kind of look away and avert my eyes at the hundreds of dollars of junk food that was bought along with the staples, and just pull the covers over my head and just, say it's just really not worth fighting over. And right now I'm in survival mode, and I guess they are too. So we really didn't make an issue out of it, but it was really great. And I noticed at that point for myself that by asking for help and not trying to just, get through it and prolong this illness, I gave my body the chance to rest. I healed up very, very quickly from mono. I still have, I'm still kind of not 100%. I find that I'm still kind of achy every now and then, but I am for sure, pretty much healed. But I know that if I hadn't asked for help along the way and really out of self-preservation and hence self-care, I would have stayed sick. There's no question, or have gotten much, much worse. And I'm grateful that I was sick enough to ask for help and that it was something that my family could jump in and do. And when I saw them do it, I felt good about asking for help. If it hadn't worked out that way, I don't know how good I would have been at that. But so I know where I'm really bad at asking for help and practicing self-care. But what wasn't as obvious to me was where I am actually practicing self-care and giving myself props for that and recognizing it for what it is. So when I made the lifestyle leap into the ketogenic world 2.5 years ago, I had to absolutely lay down some very specific rules of what I could eat, in the house, what I could bring in the house, what I wanted others to bring in the house. And when we would go out to dinner, I would, speak up about that and was, and I a lot of times, there were family members and friends that weren't impressed. They weren't happy that I was speaking up and actually making problems for the waiter. But ultimately, they knew after a couple of months that this was sticking, that this wasn't a fad, this wasn't going to be something that I was going to get over, and that they were just going to have to get used to the fact that when we went out to dinner, I was probably going to ask the waiter for a gluten-free menu, that I was probably going to be very picky about what was on my plate, and I had to be okay with them being uncomfortable until they got comfortable with it. Hi, Danny. He would know better than anybody. He was one of those people that was just not a super fan of me being picky when I first started down this road, but has since, come around and been just my biggest champion. So I appreciate that. And your people, if you're experiencing any of that, they will come around as they see you get healthy and as they see this is a lifestyle and not a fad or something that you're going to get over anytime soon. They will eventually come on board and be part of it. But in the meantime, like for me, I had to really, kind of put myself in a bubble and be very cautious for my own well-being. And so I practiced self-care there. And I knew that that's what it was. What I didn't realize was the hours that I would spend shopping and then prepping the food and then ultimately cooking the food that I was bringing into the house. I would sometimes feel resentful, like I was tired, and I would get grumpy and angry and kind of snippy when people would come in the kitchen while I was cooking or unpacking groceries, and just really not so pleasant. And I know that I have the propensity to be that way sometimes. As lovely as I'm sure you all think I am, I do have that side to me. But I would do this and I would be resentful, and it just occurred to me one day that my family would eat anything that I put in front of them. It could be Kraft macaroni and cheese. It could be some ballpark hot dogs, stuff that I would never in a million years think of buying or having in the house. They would eat because they didn't care. They're eating machines, especially the boys. So, whatever I put in front of them, they'll eat. So it dawned on me that it wasn't for them. Like I was spending these hours shopping and prepping and cooking for me because I needed it, because I wanted it, because I was looking to have a healthier way of being. And when I made that leap and that connection of, oh my God, I'm doing this for me. I don't need to be bitchy and snippy and snarky to anybody else because of the hours that I'm putting into this. I'm doing it for me. And making that shift all of a sudden made what I was doing in the kitchen a little bit easier and a little bit lighter because I knew that was self-care. I was practicing self-care without even realizing that that's what it was. And that has gone a long way for me during the last 2.5 years. It really has made a huge difference in my mental well-being, and for the house, I'm sure for the people around me, it has made a difference in how I interact with them. But I will say that as much self-care as I do, I can always do more. Today I went to Whole Foods, and they have, I don't know if you've been to Whole Foods recently, but they've got, in a lot of them, they've got these Take 5 massage therapists where they have these chair massages that you can do for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 25 minutes. And massage is something I do regularly, and I do that because I know that I need it. My body, I hold a lot of tension in my neck and in my shoulders. I've had shoulder surgery. I've had a nasty car accident. I've got 3 herniated discs in my neck. So I have a lot of issues with that. And so massage is one of those things that's another self-care. That's a non-negotiable. I know I need that, and I stand for myself in that, which is awesome. But there's a lot of areas in my life that I might not necessarily stand for myself. I don't know about a lot of you, but I'm that person that would go overboard on a cruise ship into the deep, dark waters, and somebody would ask me if I need help because I'm obviously drowning, and I'd say, no, I'm fine, and then go under. Because I don't want to put anybody else out. Well, those are some of the things in my life that I need to remember, that if even if I think maybe I might be putting somebody else out, but it's ultimately for the good of my health or well-being, 9 times out of 10, they're willing to help. Most people are willing to help. Most people, especially in my life and in my sphere, they want to help. I just don't give them very many opportunities to do so. And so I urge you to look at some of the things in your life that maybe you're doing that you might feel resentful about, that you maybe could let other people do. And by letting them do for you, they feel good. People feel good when they do for others. And in turn, give yourself a break. Now, something I'm going to do for you, I created this fabulous ketogenic travel guide. All the things that I do when I go out into the real world, when I travel, when I go on vacation, or if I have to leave for business trips, whatever it may be, there are certain things that I do religiously to make sure that I stay in my keto lane. And I created this. I give it to my members, but I want to give it to you. I have it on my website, and it's $2.99 normally, but with this promo code, SelfCare, one word, all lowercase letters, you too can have that. And that's my gift to you, and I hope that you use it, and wherever you go, you practice self-care, and through eating, through meditating, through the relationships, nurturing relationships in your life. Make sure that all of those things resonate with you. And I really hope to see you back here next Wednesday. Don't know what we'll be talking about. Give me ideas, put it on here. Visit me on my itstartswithafood.com page. On my website, I've got my blogs every Wednesday. This Wednesday was about self-care. Next Wednesday is going to be a recipe, and I suspect it may be pumpkin something. It seems to be the trend for me right now. So I hope that you all have a fabulous week and practice some self-care. Till next week. Bye-bye.